Despite having those left two lanes open, still significant traffic backup, but you're taking a look as well as what is left of the scene here. Now that truck still has hot spots. You can see underneath there is still fire burning as well as off to the side and smoke still billowing out of that tractor trailer. Now what the crews here on scene tell us is about 2:30 this morning, the driver told them that he thinks the brakes overheated. He was able to pull off to the side of the road, the only truck involved in this incident. And what's inside is that they tell us there are packaging materials, and what they're worried about right now is that they need to get in there to extinguish the rest of that fire. And as Craig predicted, that rain coming in right now, they've been hauling water in, but this rain might help them make sure that this fire continues to go out. We're going to find out more information. They do still think, though, the next 2 hours they're going to be out here as they tear apart the contents of that truck and get things extinguished for good before they can tow it out of here. So at least 2 more hours you're going to see a scene out here. And as you can see, the rain picking up out here right on I-40 westbound in Mount Juliet. Reporting live, Kelly Rippin, Fox 17 News. The rain, thankfully, now passing through, allowing crews to still get out there and battle the flames that, as you can see, continue to pop up at different areas of this tractor trailer. Now, I was speaking with fire crews on scene, and they tell us that this truck was hauling packaging materials, and there was plastic as well as cardboard tubes, and that's what's causing so many hot spots to continue to pop up, because the embers and the flames were buried inside deep in that truck, and they were unable to get it out initially with the initial crews on scene. So you're going to see some flames still popping up there. They do not seem concerned. They are still letting trucks as well as cars by on the left two lanes. But what we do know is this happened just about 2:30 this morning, and this truck, the driver, is okay. That's the most important thing. He believes that the brakes overheated. He was able to pull off to the side of the road. No other cars or trucks were involved in this incident, and we are told that they do plan on being on scene here for at least the next 2 hours to get the fire out. That is what they are working on right now, but they are having to haul in water from Mount Juliet to actually get the flames out. So they're going to have to get the packaging materials inside, exposed, get the fire out, and then they're going to worry about towing this car out of here. So, of course, Fox 17 is the only station on local until 9 o'clock in the morning. We're going to bring you updates on this as the morning progresses, as well as we are only ones on this side of the road able to see what's going on down here with the crews. We are reporting live this morning. Kelly Rippin, Fox 17 News.
Yeah, you know, that fire.
Yeah, Aaron, we're the closest news crew to the scene here, and you can see now, finally, no more flames shooting out from that tractor trailer. And I heard you guys asking maybe why there were so many hot spots and why that kept igniting. And I do see a couple flames still on the opposite side of where we are. And what they tell us is that this truck was hauling packaging materials. Initially, we were told it was hauling brake parts. Well, what we know now is that the driver of this truck believes that the brakes overheated, and that's where that miscommunication happened. But this truck was actually hauling packaging materials that had plastic as well as cardboard tubing, and the hot spots were coming from deep within what those packaging materials that this truck was carrying. Again, the driver was able to leave safely. He was able to pull over the side of the road when this initially started to happen, so no other cars were involved. I want you guys to take a look actually at the traffic backup, because we have another camera with photojournalist Nathan Furness up on the hill there showing you the traffic that you can see coming on I-40 westbound. And yes, the two left lanes are open, but unfortunately, because of the magnitude of what's going on and how many crews have to be out here, we are still seeing significant delays. And as you guys come back down here, they just cleaned up. There was a bobcat actually out here that was breaking into the truck to be able to release where those hot spots were coming from. That is what they have been waiting for through the majority of the morning, and now we are going to start to see the fire crews get in there, break this truck down. Again, make sure the hot spots are out before they are able to tow this truck away. Right next to me is the tow truck, so as soon as they're able to, they're going to get this out of here and hopefully reopen those lanes. But initially they had told me 2 hours. We're already about an hour into this. I expect several hours that this will still be blocked off in the right lanes. Reporting live, Kelly Rippin, Fox 17 News.
Coverage. Fox 17's Kelly Rippin is out there with the latest on a new lane that just reopened.
3 lanes open, Aaron, and traffic moving along much better. But as you mentioned, we are still seeing some delays because of what took place this morning. Let's take a look over here. You can see that tractor trailer now finally no longer smoking, no longer having flames spewing out of it as it was for about 3.5 hours this morning. We do know that the driver was okay. He believes that the brakes overheated. He was able to pull off to the side of the road, exit the vehicle, and no other cars or trucks were involved. But crews were battling those flames for, again, many hours this this morning, having a difficult time because this truck was hauling packaging materials. There was plastic, there was cardboard tubes, and because of that, that is when the flames were kind of buried in there, and they seemed to continue to ignite. And I want to show you guys, there's debris all the way over here, and this is actually a log book from the truck that is all the way, I would say, probably about 25 yards away from the truck, and all of these plastic bottles are actually lined up along here. Many of them melted. Some things melted to that plastic. So a lot of debris out here. They are still working to clear out. Crews still on the scene. They still have this left lane blocked off. And I want to actually toss up to the other camera that we have out here so you can see what the traffic still looks like, despite the fact that they do still have 3 lanes open. So they have traffic moving, but as you can see, still some slowdown and delays. Of course, we are the only station local until 9 o'clock in the morning, and we're going to be live here showing you the progress of them cleaning up all of this debris, as well as what traffic looks like. So stick with Fox 17 through the rest of the morning. We are reporting live out here on I-40. Kelly Rippin, Fox 17 News.
100% chance of rain.
Greg, thank you very much. We've been following a traffic accident at I-40 West. In fact, Kelly Rippin on the scene right now with some breaking news there.
Yeah, you guys, I'm actually a little bit shaken up right now. We were just sitting here waiting for our next live shot when we witnessed a car spin out on I-40 and actually hit into that tractor trailer. So this is just a reminder of everyone to be careful when you are traveling past these accidents. The roadways are wet. There were several TDOT workers by that truck, many of them up on the hill there. They are actually, we've called the ambulances, we've called 911. We're still trying to find out the status of all of the drivers involved. But as you can see, the gentlemen over on the hill here are okay. One of the scariest things I have ever witnessed personally, again, that car spun out, is now inside the damage of what that tractor trailer fire was earlier this morning. So again, now, once again, we're going to avoid I-40 westbound near mile marker 226 because there are going to be heavy delays here again. I was on with 911. Multiple people here were on with 911. They're going to have plenty of ambulances coming through here. We want to make sure they are able to get to all of the people here. Of course, we'll bring you a live report as soon as we know the status of all of the drivers. I am told at least one is okay and has joined the TDOT workers over on the hill. But again, I saw several of the TDOT workers in very visible pain because they were examining that truck when we all heard the tires spin out and then slam into the truck there. Before that, we were waiting for them to detach the fuel tank from this truck before they could actually get it up. So the good news is it doesn't look like anything has reignited out here. Again, we'll bring you a live update as soon as we are able to get it right here on Fox 17.
Oh, he is in pain. Oh my goodness, Kelly.
Quick question, Kelly. Was that car going fast? Was it in the wrong lane? Could you see anything that led to this?
You know what? We saw it. Yeah, it was a red car. You know, the roads are slick from that rain that we had this morning. They do have 3 lanes open. I don't know about how fast the car was moving because whenever I took a look at it, it was already spinning. So I don't know how fast the car was moving, but again, traffic was moving at a pretty decent clip. And again, just a reminder, everyone, you're passing these accidents, there are people working alongside the road. Use caution, slow down. You're going to get to work or where you're going whenever you need to. But the safety of the people on the side of the road here is what's important when these scenes are still active, but beginning to reopen.
All right, absolutely. Kelly, thank you for that update. Again, just to let you know what's happening right now. Our crews, we have 2 crews there live on the scene where we had watched this truck fire this morning. And as our crews were there, they witnessed a car coming through that area, spin out of control, crash into the truck, what's left of that semi.
That's a red car.
And we know that there are injuries. A lot of those TDOT crews and other workers were there on the scene trying to clean up that wreck. We can tell that there are people who have injuries. I understand we've made a call to 911. Kelly, that was the first thing Kelly did.
Kelly called 911.
Kelly called 911, so we are waiting for ambulances to get there. We'll give you an update just as soon as we get some breaking news. We've been live this morning at the scene of this semi-fire. Crews just got that fire out, and just moments ago, our crews there witnessed that red car spinning, going through that zone, crashing into what's left of that semi. We know that there are people there who are injured.
And the workers there on scene, and there we see one of our photographers, James Egbert there. There's some workers there that apparently were hit. That's according to Kelly, who called 911 about this accident. It may remind you, back in May, a police officer on I-65 going north, right around in Brentwood, was killed by a truck that came through, and they think that person was going too fast. So we don't know if the conditions were contributing to this, spinning out and going into that truck, which has been on fire. As you can see, it's basically been.
Hey, and again, we just want to stress the move over laws exist for a reason, everyone, and this is exactly why cars are traveling on the 3 open lanes on the left. We don't know what happened, but there are 3 cars involved, causing that red car that you see right there to spin out, which is when we all were hearing the tires screech, spin out and smash into that truck. You can see now the crews on scene here were not T-Dot workers. They were actually the tow truck employees that were sitting here waiting for everything to clear so they could actually tow parts of this truck out of here. The 2 gentlemen that you see sitting on the hill there, those gentlemen were the ones that were inside the red car and able to make it out okay. The other 2 cars on the other side of the street, again, everyone okay this morning. We're going to continue to bring you updates as we get them here on Fox 17.
All right, Kelly, we do want to say thank you at 8:02 right now. Might have been a little hard to hear Kelly there for all the traffic noise, but what we know is we had 2 cars involved in a crash as they were going through this zone that had previously been blocked off this morning. We got a lot of folks there on scene now trying to figure out exactly what happened. Kelly, we know that Kelly and our 2 photographers who were there called 911. They said they heard the tires screeching. And saw one of those cars come careening into what was left of that burned out semi truck. We can see what looks to be either a witness or a victim in this crash explaining to first responders what she saw. Let's send it over to Aaron right now, who can tell us a little bit more about what's going on in that zone on 40 westbound.
Well, 40 westbound, initially they had all lanes reopened. Then this accident happened where the red car on gathering more information there. Now we've worked out Kelly's microphone issues, so let's continue our team coverage. Kelly Rippon has the latest on that overturned car on 40.
Yeah, you guys, again, very shaky here this morning because we witnessed what took place here just a couple of seconds ago. As you can see, fire crews, though, now on scene, ambulances called. When we were sitting here waiting to do our next live shot about the tractor-trailer fire that is now out, we heard tires screeching. That's when this red car spun out into this tractor-trailer fire that happened earlier this morning. Thankfully, that fire was out. Those 2 gentlemen you see sitting here on the side of the hill were the gentlemen inside that red car. They were able to get out and climb up the hill here, where we had people here that we've all been with throughout the morning, mostly the tow truck drivers. We all were able to make sure everybody was okay. Now, there were 3 cars involved. We're still trying to figure out what took place, how that red car got out of control. There was a white car across the way there, as well as a blue truck, and we're trying to figure out what took place to lead that red car to spinning out into what's left of this tractor trailer that has been on fire all morning. As you can see, fire crews, EMS on scene, and really all of us out here are just incredibly grateful that nobody was more severely injured. Of course, these gentlemen being treated and cared for by the EMS crews to make sure they are okay. They were able to write down their information for the cops that were on the scene here. So we're going to continue to follow this. Do not take I-40 right now. It's going to be backed up yet again from what was that tractor trailer fire, and now this second accident. And again, I was standing here talking to the tow truck drivers because we all, again, heard that squeal and then the impact of that car hitting the truck. What we want to remind people, please remember the move over laws. They exist for a reason. Only 1 lane was still closed down, but if you see an incident on the side of the road, get as far away from it as possible to keep the safety of the workers in mind, and so that all of these people are okay while they're out here clearing a scene so that your traffic commute is able to move forward. We're going to be reporting live here for the rest of the morning. Kelly Rippon, Fox 17 News.
Thank you very much, Kelly.
Around the Beckwith Road exit, I-40 westbound, where a truck had been on fire. And as Kelly Rippon and our crews were there on the scene, covering it as it was being cleaned up, that red car, that red vehicle ended up spinning and slamming into the truck. And it also appeared to have hit another car, which we had a shot of before. Right now, the EMTs on site trying to deal with any potential injuries, putting them in C-spine precautions right now, it looks like. We don't know whether anybody else was in that vehicle, but it appears as though those individuals were.
And we saw 2 other vehicles that looked like they might have been involved as we watch these paramedics take these guys over to the ambulance. There was a white car and a white truck, and it looks like they've moved to the far right side of the screen. So it looks like those cars have been able to get out of the road there. This is 40 westbound near Mount Juliet. just before the Mount Juliet Road exit. So that's the good news, I guess, in any of this is that they've been able to open up that far left lane and move those cars over there. So this is a breaking story. We're going to continue to develop it. The very latest right here, just as soon as we come back.
On I-40 westbound, where the red vehicle you see in your picture to the left of it slammed into that semi, which actually had a fire overnight, and they were taking care of that scene where, by the way, we understand the truck driver was okay. There were no injuries reported, but quite a fire. As Kelly Rippon and our crews were on the scene, that red vehicle spun out and slammed in to that wreckage. Also appeared to hit at least one other car, which has been moved up, as Jen was pointing out a few moments ago before the break. We have seen some of the people who appeared to have been in that red car put in spine precautions and taken by EMTs either to the ambulance or dealt with in one fashion. We also have to keep track of what has happened to the other workers who appeared to have been hit, who were on the scene. Kelly was watching them.
Yeah, there were a lot of people there when this all happened. So keeping an eye on that, but also just want to let you know how we got to this point. So about 3:30 this morning, you could listen and see the explosions coming from this semi. My goodness. Again, 3:30 this morning, our crews were there as the fire was really at its height. The crews trying to get it out. It took them almost 4 hours to finally get that fire out. We watched as the firefighters were there, bringing in the water, trying to douse it. We watched as they brought in a bobcat, trying to knock down some of that fire. So it took them about 4 hours to finally get that fire out. Shut down the interstate for a good part of the morning. And really, when this crash happened just a few minutes ago, they had just got the fire out, kind of just got the lanes reopened. Let's send it out to Kelly right now. She is live with the latest update. Kelly, what are you seeing? What can you tell us right now?
We know the two gentlemen that were in this red car have now been loaded up and taken in the ambulances for treatment. Both of them, from what I was witnessing and talking to them, able to say their name, knew where they were, knew what was going on, but they both were in pain, of course. Take a look at what has happened to their car. What we can tell you is that as we were sitting here waiting for our live shot, you can kind of see where that white tow truck is. Well, that is when I heard the tires screech. Our vehicle is just a tiny bit behind that. We heard the tires screech. I watched the red car spin around and on its side slam into what's left of that tractor trailer fire. And keep in mind, right next to that tractor trailer, the remnants of it, were tow truck drivers. They were trying to identify the best way to get this out of here. Short time after, we saw the tow truck drivers run up the hill, followed by the two gentlemen that were inside that red car. All of them were in pain, sitting on the side here. Again, we know the tow truck drivers do seem to be okay, those two gentlemen being taken for treatment. There are also two other cars involved, that white car and that blue truck. And that's what we're trying to identify right now, is what led up to that red car losing control, how those other two cars were involved. The best news that we have this morning is that everyone is amazingly okay in this incident. And again, talking to the tow truck drivers, talking to the EMS, this is why move over laws are so very important. A reminder from the police officer that was killed just a few months ago. This could have been a very devastating incident right here along the side of the road. And just a reminder, if you see something happening, get off to the side of the road. As far as I-40 right now, they have blocked off 2 lanes. They are still allowing people in the left lane, but again, you can see those people quickly accelerating. Take your time out there. Remember, the people that are on the side of the road trying to clear these accidents so that your commute goes more smoothly are out there for a reason, and this is certainly not helping the case of what took place earlier this morning. So we'll keep you live posted here on Fox.
Flashing lights are a signal to drivers to move over, but it doesn't always happen.
I heard the skid marks. I knew that something bad was fixing to happen. I jumped off the trailer that I was on and just started screaming for my coworkers.
Independent Towing and Recovery was cleaning up after a tractor-trailer fire on I-40, but they had just seconds to react when 3 vehicles crashed in front of them. One of the vehicles spun into the back of the trailer.
We heard the noise and the bumper come flying around and Danny screaming, and then we heard a loud bang back here, and the truck just kind of jolted.
Hudson and 2 employees were hurt, but still managed to help the injured drivers.
My boss cut the seatbelt, and we started yanking them out because my fear was that we were going to keep getting hit. I was afraid it was going to be a chain reaction.
Matt believes a dangerous job was made worse when emergency crews left the scene.
But they could have opened up one more lane and given 3 lanes and gave us a safety lane you know, to make sure that we were all safe, and left either a T-Dot truck there or a police officer. But instead, they opened up all 4 lanes and everybody left.
It's a reminder of just how much is at risk when your office is on the side of the road.
I love towing. It's all I've ever done. But, you know, people just got to slow down and be aware.
We may not wear a badge, we may not have blue lights, we may not have red lights, but we fall under the emergency responders just like the police department and the fire departments and EMAs.